Welcome back, everybody, to Rasputin Gaming Presents.
The Tokichiku is hidden somewhere in this
The,
house.
this is our continuing guide and playthrough
That's
for
the end of Yoshino's story.
the Centennial case,
The story of
the
Josei and the
Shijima story.
Scarlet Carmellia isn't over yet.
This is Chapter 6, the Scarlet Carmellia.
Carmellia is still alive.
Glad to have you
We
along.
have to find them.
Haruka, I searched the entire house, but I still can't find Eiji anywhere.
According to this manuscript, Yoshino hid the Tokichiku inside a secret room. Perhaps that's where he went.
But how do we know where it is?
Someone who might know of the secret room. Kazunaga is the eldest son of the Shijimas. I assume he's the most familiar with this house. He might know something.
Let's go.
So we're going to have 3 different reasoning sequences and then the solution phase at the end. So hang in there, follow along. Don't forget to friend and follow us on Twitch. If you're on YouTube, like the videos, subscribe to the channel, drop me a comment. All much appreciated.
I don't know if you'd call it a secret, but a long time ago, Eiji and I found a strange room while we were playing. I think it was this way.
Kazunaga, light this for me.
Here you go.
Thanks. It's lit.
Okay.
I had no idea. Why didn't you tell me about it?
Dad really got mad at us at the time. After that, I made sure you two never went near it. And eventually, I forgot about it too.
There it is.
Yeah.
Oh, hey, Eiji!
Oh.
Eiji! He's barely breathing. We've got to do something fast.
Can I borrow that?
Yeah.
There's no draft. The air must be low in oxygen.
What?
We've got to get outside.
Is there another exit?
Are you all right?
Haruka. This is...
Eiji, can you stand? Easy. Okay,
Let's go this way.
that's it.
Quickly.
What were you doing, Eiji?
See? This is what you get for trying to play detective.
I'm sorry. Once the idea occurred to me, I just had to check it out.
What if something really happened to you?
It's just a mild case of hypoxia.
That room had been closed off for so long. The air was low in oxygen from lack of ventilation. You need to be careful, Eiji. What if there are after effects? Just when your work's finally taking off.
Something like this won't get in the way of his research. But we shouldn't be complacent. I'll stay with him for a while.
No, I'll be fine. Please look after my father.
Yoker's been with him this whole time. I'll go relieve her.
Yes.
I'll go too.
No, wait. Haruka, show Akari what we found.
What? Oh.
found it. In that secret room.
What is it? Looks like a walnut.
If this is the Tokijiku.
It's the real thing, isn't it? I read about it in Yoshino's manuscript. She claims she hid the last Tokijiku in a secret room.
We might be able to save my father if we give this to him. Though, I really doubt we can actually convince him to eat it.
By the way, something else came up while you were missing. I'm not sure yet, but Yayoi might not be the one who killed that detective.
What?
We found evidence that the killer was someone other than Yayoi, namely... There was a blood-stained flower pot among some grass in the garden. It might have been the murder weapon.
What do you mean?
Yayoi said that she bashed his head in with a rock, but that was a lie. Also, we found out that Josui Sakaki died decades ago, apparently. So our detective couldn't have been Josui.
Then, why did she...
There must be some other reason behind Yayoi's actions. Could she be covering for the Scarlet Carmellia? The Scarlet Carmellia has left many tracks. Let's examine them together.
But no one's figured it out in 100 years.
Fortunately, we have two major leads. The serial novel set 100 years ago, and the nightclub story set 50 years ago. If we put them together and analyze the facts closely, I'm sure we'll get the answer.
You're right.
Akari, I want everyone to read the Shinsei Nen and Bungei Seikai stories, and these manuscripts I got from Yayoi.
Why?
I have a feeling that solving this case will require all of this information. If that's the case, everyone needs to read them.
Very well. Yes, let's do that.
All right, then I'll go speak with everyone.
All right, reasoning sequence 1.
A murder at an inn 100 years ago. The killer was Eizan Shijima. He was carrying a red camellia, which might suggest that he was the Scarlet Carmellia.
But someone killed Eizan, the real Scarlet Carmellia, most likely.
So he wasn't the Scarlet Carmellia. The real Scarlet Carmellia is someone else. There must be a clue pointing to the Scarlet Carmellia within Eizan's actions.
All right, lots to look after here. Okay, now we have this big one in front of us over here. So let's start with this one. So this double one right here, and this one, we're too far away. We need, did you stab it? There it is. Here it is, Panama hat. So while we're here, we'll grab this one, even though I was going in kind of sequence around. Why did he have the red Carmellia? All right, next one. There it is. Missed it the first time. not done here yet. Okay, we're going to have more reasoning after this one. As we continue to whittle down the suspects.
All right. This is everything we know about Azon. I'm sure the answer lies somewhere in here. But it's still not enough. We have to consider the other people too.
So next reasoning phase. A lot of answers in this one. A lot of hypothesis, I guess.
Azon Shijima's son, Saeta, his wife Ayame, and Towako Nagahama. One of them could be the Scarlet Carmellia.
We can't leave out Josui Sakaki either. He might have been imprisoned, but he was around for Azon's murder.
Let's recall what they were doing at the time.
Let's check the, whoops, the loneliest one way down there at the end. Tomas. There she is. And then we will review what we know about each of them. Okay, so this first section should be Saitas. Right there. Let's start with this one. The last one we need is in the same spot. Okay, Yami. Next one is Torko. Oh, let's do this one first. Okay, we filled them all in, right? Yep. Okay, so now it's see. Now you have a choice to go on or review what you have done right there. We can go on to reasoning sequence 3, we're fine.
Now we have all the clues. The Scarlet Carmellia from 100 years ago is...
Probably that person.
Probably that person. Now then, the next question is... if the Scarlet Carmellia is in this house right now, who would it be? It wasn't Yayoi who killed the detective calling himself Nishimari. Eiji and Akari were with me the whole time, so they couldn't have done it. Same goes for Ryoe, who was asleep. That leaves... Kazunaga, Mitsunori, Yoko, and Takehiko. Let's recall what they were doing at the time. If the Scarlet Carmellia is in this house right now,
Who do you think it could be?
I'll find the thread, connecting the past and the present.
Okay, third and final sequence. First, is the Scarlet Carmellia still alive? Or the other choice, so if they're still with us, first, who is it? Takiko? Alright, so all about him. Let's grab the next person. Kazunga. Kazunaga, sorry. Or his brother Mitsunori. our last choice, Yoko Ono. She killed the beetle, so maybe she's our red Carmellia. Alright, who do we start with? Anything suspicious about Kazunaga? Okay, looks like we gotta go the other way. Okay, and more Kazunaga stuff coming up. Alright, next up. Mitsunori. Alright, now it's Yoko Ono's turn to come under our spotlight. Alright, one more little section of stuff for Yoko. It's these two right here. Alright, now Takehiko's turn. All the way back to the beginning. Do one more section with him. All right, last of all the clues. And before you grab this last one, make a save. In case there's a mistake.
Haruka, let's hear your reasoning. Of all the mysteries surrounding the Scarlet Carmellia, what do you find most unusual?
Okay, so let's finish our reasoning.
It seems you have your thoughts in order.
Yes. Everything makes sense to me now. All right. I think I've taken everything into account. All the clues I've collected can lead to only one answer. The Scarlet Carmellia is.
So we're ready to proceed. You can say none other than that person.
That's it.
And there's an epilogue after you go through this section, so don't exit the game too
Where
soon.
is everyone?
They're reading the materials as asked. They should be done soon, I think.
In that case, let's ask everyone to join us.
Does that mean?
You solved it?
There you are. I need to speak with everyone. Could you come to the main hall, please?
If it's about those manuscripts, I've read them. But I'm sorry, I don't have time for your deductions now.
But...
Don't get me wrong. You'd make a great detective. And I was wrong to make fun of you. But now is not the time. I'm more concerned with finding out who poisoned my father. I don't care how insignificant. If you found any clue...
Well, Kazanaga... You're in luck. Because the path of logic lines up. Thank you all for coming. And thank you for reading the Shinseinen and Bungei Seikai stories, as well as these 2 manuscripts right here.
Is it okay that I'm here?
Of course. I'd like you to hear me out, Dr. Kiryu, as someone with a different perspective.
Is all of this true?
There were a few holes here and there, but it's consistent with what I know. I think we can say it all really happened.
Yes. I carried out my reasoning on the premise that these stories are true, and arrived at the one and only conclusion.
You figured it out?
That's what I want to verify here, with your kind assistance. To solve this mystery, there are 3 keys. The first is the serial novel set over 100 years ago, written by one Yoshino Shijima. The second is the story of a singer murdered at the Scarlet Carmellia nightclub in the Showa era. And the third is the 2 crimes that took place here today. Ryoei's poisoning and the murder of that detective. I believe that the culprit behind these 2 crimes is the same person as the Scarlet Carmellia, who was also in the Taisho era.
Wait a second. Someone who was alive a century ago is responsible for today's crimes?
Yes.
I understand how that might be hard to believe, but I'm sure you saw that red camellia today. That is the thread that connects the past and the present. As for the Scarlet Carmellia,
They are ageless and with us right now.
the Scarlet Carmellia ate the Tokijiku and became ageless, and they're with us here, right now.
What?
Let's take a look at the clues we have. First, the murder of Genei Shijima at the Riverside Inn in the Taisho era. I began by asking myself whether Eizan was the Scarlet Carmellia. He had a red camellia on him, but does that really mean he's the Scarlet Carmellia?
He was not the Scarlet Carmellia.
Eizan was not the Scarlet Carmellia. He was merely an accomplice. The murder of Genei at the inn is evidence of that. What caught my attention was
The red camellia was placed before Eizan returned.
Yoshino found the red camellia outside Genei's room, not inside it. I want you to recall that Yoshino went to Genei's room in the middle of the night. At that time, she didn't see a red camellia. That means someone at the inn put it there sometime between night and morning. Since Azon wasn't at the inn that night, that removes him from the list of suspects. In the first place, if he was the Scarlet Carmellia, he could have just put the camellia next to the body.
So the Scarlet Carmellia was someone who was there at that inn?
Yes. But it was Azon himself who actually committed the murder. That's an important point. Why didn't the Scarlet Carmellia kill Gane?
Perhaps they had a policy of not getting their hands dirty.
I don't think that's it. At the very least, they killed Azon personally at the Shijima house later on.
So there was some reason they couldn't do the same to Gane.
That's right. The real Scarlet Carmellia.
Couldn't enter the room.
The real Scarlet Carmellia was unable to enter Gane's room.
Well, why is that?
The Scarlet Carmellia has left many hints about that. You'll find them in the words and actions of a particular character in the manuscripts.
So, one of the characters in these manuscripts is the real Scarlet Carmellia?
Yes. And that person is...
Nope. Nope. Yep. Towako Nagahama. During Gane's murder.
That person is Towako Nagahama. And the clue to her identity is the fact that...
she left it early, the ceremony.
Towako excused herself from the lantern ceremony and returned to her room early. Maybe she just wasn't interested. But I got the impression that the way she left the ceremony was quite abrupt. There was an insurmountable reason why she couldn't take part. Both times, she was avoiding something.
Avoiding something?
Yes. This same thing prevented the Scarlet Carmellia from entering Gane's room. And that's...
This one should have been easy enough to guess, and that's that right there. Fear's fire.
Gane's room had a charcoal brazier that was still burning in the morning. The Scarlet Carmellia, that is to say, Towako, was afraid of fire.
Fire?
Yes, that's also why she didn't take part in the ceremony.
Might just be a coincidence.
No. There's one more piece of circumstantial evidence. That is...
the matchbox. Whoops. Not him. The killer stepped on it.
When Azon was murdered, next to his body was a matchbox that had been stepped on. I think that's also a sign that the Scarlet Carmellia was afraid of fire.
Huh? What do you mean?
If Towako was afraid of fire, Azon would have known that.
You know I don't like it when you smoke.
When he was attacked by Towako, Azon tried to fend her off by lighting a match. But she managed to crush the matchbox and kill him.
From what I read, Saita and Ayame were also in the area when Azon was killed. Can you conclude that Towako was the killer because of a matchbox?
Even if we ignore the matches, there's still another piece of evidence. Namely,
that Aizan died after being stabbed in the chest, and he had fallen chest down, so we could not see it. But she was accused of it.
how did Yoshino describe the scene of the crime when she found Aizan's body? I believe there was a pool of blood under his chest. But the body was lying prone, and there was a lot of blood from a wound to his head. Only the killer would see that and assume that the victim had been stabbed. Do you remember what it was Towako actually said to Yoshino? Did you stab him? She asked. She knew he'd been stabbed because she was the one who did it.
That makes sense.
I don't fully get it, but even if this Towako person was the killer back then, who was it who attempted to kill Mr. Shijima?
Right. Let's get back to the present. Towako was the Scarlet Carmellia, and she's in this house right now. But who could she really be?
Alright, twist is coming. Unless you're sly, like me, or using my guide and getting the answer early. Nope. Obviously not a dude. Which only leaves us one other choice. Megumi Kiru.
We'll use the process of elimination. First up, Yayoi. Yayoi does all the housework for the Shijima family. She prepares tea and meals, so there's no way she could avoid using fire. Next up, Yoko. Yoko lights incense regularly for Miyuki, Ryoei's first wife.
Fire.
Naturally, this proves she is not afraid of fire. Moving on to Kazunaga. Kazunaga smokes, right? The fire earlier, with the cardboard boxes, was started by one of his cigarettes. This means he can be excluded. So, what about Takehiko?
Well,
When he saw the fire, he was the first person to go near it and try to put it out. That doesn't sound like the actions of someone afraid of fire. That doesn't leave many people. Mitsunori. When we searched for the secret room earlier, Mitsunori was holding a lit candle. That proves him innocent. And at the time the detective was murdered, Eiji, Akari, and I were all in the main hall, so we have alibis.
Wait, that doesn't leave anyone.
No. It leaves one person, doesn't it? And that's you, Dr. Kiryu.
The doctor. I can't believe it.
Wait a minute. This is my very first time in this house. Why would I have done anything like that?
Is it really your first time here?
Huh?
Just now, when we were looking for Eiji, you said that he was headed for the storehouse. How did you know this estate had a storehouse?
I saw it on my way here.
You had time to see the storehouse all the way at the back of the house?
Well,
And didn't you also say Eiji's condition won't get in the way of his research? If this is your first time meeting him, then how did you know about his work?
Well, I saw it in that interview.
What interview? Where exactly? You have been with Byoe ever since you arrived at this house, haven't you?
I read the interview a few days ago.
Then why didn't you show any sign of recognition when you saw Eiji? Your manner suggested that you didn't know anything about this family.
I saw no need to bring it up. Besides, the reason I'm here is because I was contacted about Roe's poisoning. Doesn't that mean I couldn't have been the one to poison him?
He was poisoned by...
Someone other than you, because she has accomplices and has used them in the past.
It wasn't you who administered the poison.
Exactly.
When you think about it, wasn't it that detective? The fake Nishimari who poisoned the tea?
Yes, it was.
What? I don't think he had any opportunity to sneak into the kitchen, though.
When Yayoi brought the tea into this
Poisoned
room,
the cup at that
he
time.
started inspecting the cups and teapot right away. That's when he slipped the poison that was hidden in his palm into the tea. If you are the culprit, Dr. Kiryu, then that detective must have been your accomplice. After all, he was the one who called you while claiming to have contacted the hospital.
I think you're right.
And remember what Eiji said? Arsenic has no taste or smell. That detective said it was arsenic after tasting it. Which means he was either lying or he already knew what the poison was. In any case, everything about him was dubious.
But wasn't he the ageless detective, Josui, from the stories?
Makoto Nishimari is the protagonist in the novels, if you remember correctly.
Makoto Nishimari. That's the name of the main character in my novels. Clearly a pseudonym. Of course, he is not Josie Kusaka. He died over 50 years ago. That detective, the fake Nishimari, was just an actor hired by Dr. Kiryu.
But whatever for?
To create a medical emergency that would allow her, disguised as a doctor, to enter this house.
And get busy with her
It is the rule
handiwork.
here that the head of the Shijima family does everything first. Therefore, it was very likely that Byoe would be the first one poisoned. Playing the role of doctor, she'd have the best seat in the house to watch Byoe suffer.
So you never had any intention of helping my father.
How could you?
The detective had served his purpose, so you killed him, and then watched as we all made fools of ourselves. The mastermind behind a string of murders over 100 years. The Scarlet Carmellia, who was made ageless by the Tokijiku. That's you. Dr. Kiryu. Or should I say, Toako.
Murders over 100 years? Ageless? You have quite the imagination. But that has nothing to do with me. As I understand it, you concluded that the detective's killer was someone named Yayoi.
No. She could not have murdered that detective. Yayoi isn't the killer, because
Nishimari wasn't killed with a rock.
the real murder weapon we discovered was the blood-stained flower pot. Yayoi claims to have hit him in the head with a rock, but she was lying about it. She wasn't the real murderer at all.
And what evidence is there that I am the Scarlet Carmellia?
There is one simple way we can prove whether you are the killer.
How?
By using a lighter.
If you're not the killer, prove it with this lighter. Can't you light it?
What?
Stop it!
Alrighty. That went well.
You're something else. Aren't you? Not once in 100 years have I been cornered like this.
It was Yoshino's manuscripts that gave me all the information needed to find you.
That woman. I should have killed her before she had the chance to write all that.
Tell us, why did you have to kill all those people?
To take revenge on the Shijima family, of course.
Even so, what reason could you have to hate the Shijima so much? The Scarlet Carmellia nightclub. After those murders, a century ago, you didn't kill anyone for 50 years. Then, in 1972, the murders started again. Something happened back then, didn't it? At the Scarlet Carmellia nightclub.
You were at the club that night.
You were there. At the club. On the night of the murder. Isn't that right? Io's account of that case was published in Bunge Sekai. In it, I found a clue that you were there. And that's...
Not this one. Not this one. This one.
And that table's candle is out. It would be...
How about you? You want to live forever?
No. That was you, wasn't it? At the table, with the unlit candle. and you overheard something you never expected to.
What was it?
That the Shijima family chose a new test subject every 100 years and made them eat the Tokijiku.
Yes. They lived only to serve as a test subject for that family. The fruit was given to the wretches who could be forced to lead such an existence.
Indeed. I had been fed the Tokijiku. And hearing that filled me with rage.
You ate the Tokijiku that Yoshino took from her family, didn't you? You weren't a Shijima, so why?
After the murder at the inn, Eizan gave it to me.
He did?
Yes. He said he wanted to be with me forever, and had me eat the only Tokijiku we had then. Hearing that from the man I loved, I was over the moon. Which is why I did everything I could to find another Tokijiku for him. The amount of time Eizan could speak with me was growing shorter by the day. I just had to be patient until we found one. And then that fateful day arrived. Eizan abducted Josui Sakaki and obtained the last Tokijiku. I was overjoyed that we could finally be together, but then I saw his face. He refused to look me in the eye. And that's when I knew for sure that he was eventually going to leave me someday. I just knew it.
No.
And if we weren't going to live together forever, what was I supposed to do? And I knew there was only one thing for me to do. I had to end our time together. Then, before he could leave me, I picked up a knife and confronted him, urging him to die alongside me.
So, the skeleton found under the cherry tree was... Eizan Shijima.
But I wasn't the one who buried him there. It was his son, Saeta.
The end of the Shijima family.
He was afraid that if the police investigated, they'd discover that Eizan had murdered Gene. He wanted to bury the family's shame deep in the ground. That's the kind of family you Shijimas are!
What did you say?
After I stabbed Eizan, I turned the knife on myself. But then, I heard Eizan say, "Don't kill yourself." And after hearing that, I couldn't go through with it. I just couldn't kill myself. I changed my name, my appearance, and just drifted from place to place. I was alone, still in love with Eizan, but unwilling to join him in death. However, I thought if I could find someone like me, someone to share my eternal solitude with. That's why I went to that nightclub. The Scarlet Carmellia, a bizarre coincidence. And there I heard the terrible truth. That the Tokijiku was only fed to human test subjects. Eizan had chosen me as his research tool, nothing more. He couldn't afford to have me die because I'd consumed his precious Tokijiku. That's why he stopped me.
These past 50 years. All the unnatural deaths. It was...
Yes, my revenge. On the deceitful House of Shijima. Considering all the people sacrificed for your research, once every 10 years isn't nearly enough. But then a massacre wouldn't give you time to recall all your sins, would it? As he's recalling them now.
Wait, did you give Yoei a sublethal dose of poison on purpose?
That's right. I didn't want him to die before I got here, after all.
You monster!
I hired that two-bit actor to poison Roy. And I was going to saunter in here after getting his call. But then... he demanded more money. Because of the risks he'd taken. Can you imagine? He had no idea how expendable he was. So I reminded him with that flower pot.
So it was you.
You were laughing at us this whole time behind our backs.
Actually, I wasn't. If the police or another doctor came, I had to get rid of them somehow. That's why I waited at the gate. But I didn't even see a soul. I thought that was strange. But when I came back to the house, by chance...
More, I'm sure.
Not that they'll be here for a while, or an ambulance for that matter.
I heard you talking about how the roads were blocked off. Now that was divine intervention. There was no need to rush. And I was so looking forward to watching Roy die slowly.
But it was Eizan who deceived you. The rest of the Shijimas have done you no wrong. Why did you have to kill all those other people?
You lot would never understand.
I have no desire to understand you.
You're nothing but a cold-blooded murderer. That's all we need to know.
We have to let Yayoi out of the storehouse.
Let's lock her in there until the police get here.
And don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel, like the videos. Would really appreciate it. Don't forget there's the epilogue coming up afterwards, so you can skip the credits and jump into the epilogue. I'm going to end this video here. So we will, well, let's go ahead and see if we can skip ahead here. And I'll show you how to get into the epilogue. And then we'll end the video there. Booyah. All right, so it's right down here, the You Got Mail. That's how you get into the epilogue. I'm going to end the video here, like I mentioned. I'll be back with the epilogue, and we will finish out this and get the platinum trophy. You guys take care and be safe out there, and we will catch you next time. Take care.